Welcome to the sleepy informer. The tide gently brushes your toes, then quietly retreats once more, soft and shy like a secret. You lie still, feeling the echo of its breath fading into sand, and something inside you sighs. Not quite asleep, not fully awake. You've entered the hush between thoughts, where stories don't begin or end, they drift. Tonight, the ocean tells its story in a language older than words. A tale whispered not with voice, but with rhythm. With the slow rise and fall of water under the moon's patient eye. Above you, the sky is a dark, endless ceiling stitched with stars. But it's the moon that holds your attention, pale, round, timeless. It hangs there as if watching you watch it. You begin to wonder, how does it touch the sea from so far away? How does something so quiet move something so vast? The ocean breathes in, the tide inches closer again. You hear it lapping, softly against the shore, a hush, 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 like someone brushing your hair with invisible fingers. This, you learn, is the moon's lullaby. The moon pulls at the earth, not like a tug-of-war, but like a dance partner, with grace, with rhythm, with love. And the oceans, great and obedient, lean toward her. You feel this, not as a fact, but as a sensation, like the tilt of your own heart towards something beautiful. There's a pull between them, a bond that spans distance, like a thread of silver silk. Gravity, yes, but tonight you won't call it that. Tonight it is a gentle promise, a silent agreement, a steady breath passed between sky and sea, and you are here in the middle of it all. You imagine the moon reaching down, not with hands, but with longing, as if she misses the ocean when she cannot see it. And so, each night, she leans in a little. The ocean answers by rising. Then it falls, slowly, as if letting go. This is how they speak to each other. Not loudly, not urgently, just, eternally. You begin to feel it in your body. The rhythm, the rise and fall. Your breath, perhaps, or your heartbeat, or something quieter still, something below even thought. A part of you that listens even when you're not aware. A part of you made of water, and wonder, and sleep. Tides are not just water moving. They are the earth remembering the moon. The moon has watched every wave since the world was young. She's seen continents split, islands rise, and civilizations whisper their first prayers by shorelines. And still she pulls. Not because she has to, but because that's what love looks like when it's steady. The ocean doesn't resist. It leans in, and you, here, listening to it, all your eyelids growing heavy, your limbs wrapped in quieter, not separate from this story. You, too, are being pulled. Not just your body, full of salt and tide, but your thoughts, your memories, your sleep. You wonder what it means to be part of something so vast and so silent, to be moved by something you can't touch, to feel small and safe at the same time. The waves hush again, curling toward the moonlight like a child crawling into bed. The tide has spoken. The first chapter has begun, and far above, the moon's silver thread pulls tighter, not to bind but to invite you deeper, deeper into the next secret she wants to share. A thread between worlds, a pull you cannot see, a force that wraps around the earth and you, soft as silk, sure as sleep. Let's follow it together. The sea has quieted now. It lingers where you left it in soft hushes and smooth breaths. But something still hums beneath the silence, a question, a feeling. The sense that even when you sleep, Something invisible ties you to the stars. You remember the pull. The moon didn't speak, and yet the water rose. It leaned toward her like a secret being kept. Tonight, you follow that feeling deeper, not through footsteps, but through stillness, through wonder. Imagine the earth as a cradle, rocking on slow sky waves, and above it, the moon drifts like a watchful dream. But she is not still. She tugs, she reaches, gently, always gently. And beneath her hand, oceans stretch, the silver thread that connects them. It is not made of rope, it's made of gravity, but not the kind that falls fast or pulls hard. This gravity is patient. It stretches softly across 250,000 miles of space. You can't see it, but you can feel it like a string humming between your ribs and the sky. This is the tidal force, though no one would blame you for calling it moonlight's sigh. It does not with sudden gestures, but with delicate imbalance. The moon's gravity pulls on the near side of Earth's watery skin, lifting it just a little. The far side, it lags behind, pulled less strongly. So the water there rises too, not toward the moon, but away, and Earth spins in between, wrapped in this strange, slow dance. Dotted tides, one on each side of the planet. One is reaching for the moon, one pulled back by the inertia of turning. But that sounds like a math problem, doesn't it? Forget the numbers. Think of the earth as taffy, soft, stretchable. The moon pulls on one edge, and the ocean leans like dough in gentle hands. The whole planet gives just a little, like a pillow being fluffed, like fabric caught in a passing breeze. You are not outside this pull. You are made of water, too. You carry tides in your blood, in the silence between heartbeats. Perhaps that's why you sometimes feel pulled by nothing in particular. Perhaps that's why your thoughts rise and fall without warning. Perhaps gravity doesn't just move water, but wonder, and this silver thread it never breaks. Even when clouds cover the moon, she still tugs. Even when you're far from the sea, she still reaches. You could be in a desert or asleep in a high mountain cabin, and still she finds you. Still she pulls. Some ancient part of you listens. Maybe it always has. You wonder now if the moon can move oceans, and if you are mostly ocean, ... what else might she move? The thought floats beside you like a quiet lantern bobbing on soft water. You begin to notice the rhythm. It's not just once a day, no. The tide returns twice, on each side of the world, in a slow ballet of rise and retreat, and it shifts a little each time. The moon is always drifting ahead. She does not wait fourth clock, so the tides arrive about every 12 hours and 25 minutes. Minutes never quite on schedule, but never truly late, like a lullaby remembered by heart, not by time. You imagine the earth turning beneath her. You imagine the oceans bowing. You imagine your thoughts rocked by that same celestial lull. Its notoforce you feel now, its connection, the kind that doesn't tug your skin, but tugs something quieter, something deeper. You are beginning to understand. This isn't about distance, it's about presence. The moon may be far, but she is never absent. Her pull is not pushy, it is patient. And in that patience, something beautiful unfolds. As you breathe, you feel it, a soft tension between you and the sky. Not discomfort, not ache, just the sensation of being gently held. And somewhere in that stillness, another question stirs. If the moon pulls the oceans, what else might respond to her? Could air, could stone, could even sunlight shift in reply? You begin to drift again, curious, not rushed, not eager, just ready to follow the thread. Into the next part of the story, the silver thread still hums, soft and low. You followed it through moonlight, through gravity's whisper, and now you arrive again at the water's edge. But something feels different. You no longer just see the ocean, you feel it. Its rhythm is no longer a background sound. It's a breath, asterisk inhale. The tide rises, exhale. The tide slips back. A long, slow breath from the lungs of the world. You lie quietly on the sand, and the earth beneath you seems to move not quickly, but with meaning. Not forward, but in and out. It's not just waves crashing and retreating. It's something deeper, something older. The ocean is breathing. This chapter isn't about tides as motion. It's about tides as life. And you, lying there, begin to understand the planet does not turn like a machine. It breathes like a creature. 2 high tides, 2 low, every day, like 2 long breaths in, 2 out, and between each movement, the pause, the stillness, the calm before the next inhale. Just like you breathe, the ocean breathes. You rise and fall, so does it. You are no longer simply watching the sea. You are part of it. Imagine it now. The tide flows in, curling over sand like fingers, drawing a blanket over a sleeping child, then pulling back, exposing glistening stones. Seaweed shining like lullabies forgotten on the shore. The tide doesn't rush. It doesn't hurry. It knows its rhythm. It remembers every shoreline, every bay, every salt-washed rock it's ever kissed. And this rhythm it never shouts. It only whispers, like someone breathing beside you in the dark. Long ago, people noticed. This breath, fishermen timed their nets to it. Sailors trusted it. Children played where it was exhaled. Monks prayed beside its rhythm. It shaped their days, their calendars, their stories. But before it was understood, it was felt, and you are feeling it now. The moon, high above, continues her steady pull, and the ocean responds, not just in movement, but in music, because this is music in its own way. A quiet composition of rise and rest. A lullaby not written in notes, but in water and gravity, and it plays every day, across every shore, whether or not anyone is listening. Even now, as you lie still, you begin to hear Iton a different way. The tide is not simply water returning. It is the sea saying, I am still here. It is the earth sighing in its sleep. You imagine the entire planet wrapped in ocean, not as a ball, but as a breathing being. And every shore is a rib, every wave a breath, every tide a heartbeat. You are lying on the chest of the earth, and it is alive. You don't need to move, you don't need to speak, you only need to feel, because the sea doesn't ask for your attention, it simply offers its rhythm. And you, being mostly water, respond in kind. You may not notice it every day, but some part of you always does. There is comfort in this certainty, that even when you are still, the sea is breathing for you, even when you forget. The moon remembers your rhythm, and even when you sleep. The tide never stops its lullaby. Soon. You'll follow this breath to another layer, one that wraps time around tide, motion around meaning. You'll find that the moon's rhythm is not just in the sea, but in the very way the world keeps. Track of day and night, coming and going, breathing in and letting go. The breath is leading you forward. Let it carry you there. The ocean's breath is still with you, slow, gentle, familiar now. It rises and falls in the background of your thoughts, like a quiet lullaby still humming long after the singer has gone. You've listened to the tide's breath. Now you begin to see that it also keeps time, not time with ticking hands or glowing screens, but time written in water, measured in moonlight, marked by the endless turning of the earth under the sky, high tide, low tide, again and again, like footsteps taken in a circle around the world. Tonight you begin to understand the moon is not just a light in the night. She is a clock without gears or glass, a clock that shines instead of ticks, a clock whose hands are made of gravity. She moves slowly, so slowly that you don't always notice, but the sea does, and the sea never forgets. Each day the moon rises about 50 minutes later than the day before, and with her the tides shift, not by mistake, not randomly, but in perfect rhythm with her quiet arc through the sky. It's a rhythm so ancient that before humans made calendars, before clocks, before even numbers had names, people knew when to fish, when to plant, when to rest, simply by watching the sea. Imagine a world without alarms, no buzzing phones, no ticking clocks, just the moon and her shadow on the water. Farmers in rice fields, sailors at the edge of the known world, mothers rocking babies near tide pools. They all watched her. They all felt time moving, not forward, but in cycles, like waves. The moon controls the tides, but she also keeps the rhythm of life itself. She is the drummer in the sky, and the ocean is her soft, fluid song. And so the tide returns, not every 12 hours, but every 12 hours and 25 minutes, because the moon does not follow the sun. She has her own path, her own rhythm. Every day she moves a little farther east in the sky, and the tides follow, like sleep trailing behind a lullaby. You may have noticed this before without knowing it, how the ocean's mood is never quite the same at the same hour, how the shore shifts its reach slightly each day. It's not a mistake, it's not chaos. It's choreography, a slow, careful dance between the earth's spin and the moon's pull. Even the sun joins in pulling too, not as strongly, but enough to create spring tides and neap tides. Times when the sea breathes deeper, and times when it rests shallow. But the moon leads, and the sea, and all who live by it, follow. You feel this in your own days too. Sometimes time feels fast rushing past, like a crashing wave. Other times it stretches long and soft, like the tide reaching for distant sand. But the moon never hurries. She arrives when she's meant to. So do the tides. So, perhaps, do you. You are not late. You are not early. You are simply drifting in rhythm with something larger, something older than any schedule. And now you wonder, if the moon keeps time for the seas, what else might be shaped by her rhythm? Could forests feel her? Could coral cities under the sea grow by her pulse? Could even you sleep and dream and wake in time with the moon's soft ticking? The thought drifts beside you like a cloud reflecting silver light. Time, you realize, is not just something you measure. It's something you feel. The moon doesn't rush. The sea doesn't forget. And you are right where you are meant to be. In the next chapter, you'll follow that rhythm into a world beneath the waves, a place where gravity becomes a painter, and the coastline its living canvas. Close your eyes. The moon's hand is still on the clock, and the next moment is almost here. The moon's clock still ticks, though you hear no sound. You feel it more than anything, a quiet rhythm moving beneath everything. beneath the waves, beneath the sand, beneath even your thoughts. You've come to know the tides as breaths, as lullabies, as timekeepers. But tonight you drift a little closer to see the moon's hands more clearly. Not hands that push or pull in haste, but hands that shape over days, over years, over lifetimes. Hands that are patient, invisible, constant. You lie still by the water again, and it seems different. Not just moving, but molding. Not just rising, but sculpting. The waves leave trails behind ribbons in the sand, shallow pools like forgotten mirrors. And just below the surface, where fish drift and seagrass sways, the moon is quietly at work. She touches everything with her unseen fingertips. She doesn't need to be close. She simply reaches with gravity, with rhythm, with time. Asterisk, and the ocean listens, where the tide flows in and out each day. It carves tiny stories into the earth. The coastline changes grain by grain, shell by shell. Not suddenly, but always. Not violently, but deeply. Tide by tide, the land is shaped. Rocks where smooth, estuaries swell. Mudflats stretch and fold like slow breathing. Even entire islands shift, just a little, in their place. It is the moon who does this. She doesn't raise mountains or crash cliffs. She whispers, and the world moves. Imagine now the tidal currents like slow rivers within the sea, flowing not across land, but through open water. They carry warmth, salt, nutrients, life, from deep to shallow, cold to warm. It's as though the moon has hands cupped beneath the ocean, stirring it softly, so every corner is touched. Where the tide enters narrow bays and coasts, her pull becomes more focused. The water rises higher, falls farther. These places are her favorite brushes, where she paints with bold lines and gentle shadows. Think of the Bay of Fundy in Canada. There, the tide can rise as high as a 4-story house. Not because the moon pulls harder, but because the shape of the land listens more closely. The moon does not shout to be heard. She lets the shape of the world carry her voice. And even beneath the waves, where light fades in silence, deepens, creatures move to her rhythm. Mussels close their shells. Seaweed bends with the current. Crabs scurry from sun to shade, from dry to wet. The moon's hands are there, too beneath the surface, beneath awareness. And so you begin to wonder, what else has she touched? Not just oceans or rocks, but feelings, memories, moments. Is it possible that the same pull that sculpts the shore also shapes your quietest thoughts? Perhaps your moods shift like tides. Perhaps your memories rise when she's full, and rest when she's gone. It's a thought soft as sea foam. You don't need to know, only to feel it passing through you. And now the moonlight catches the wet sand. It glows faintly, like something recently touched. You realize the moon is not just above you. She is beside you, beneath you, within the water that gently laps your skin. And even as you close your eyes, you feel her hands moving, not to wake you, but to carry you deeper in. The next chapter, you'll drift even farther in, to find the places where land and tide meet again and again, coasts shaped by memory, by time, and by the moon's patient hands. Let the water pull you forward. She knows the way. You follow the water now gently, slowly, into places where the sea meets the land like an old friend, not crashing, not conquering, just arriving, just returning. The tide curls in around rocks, through reeds, beneath boardwalks. It does not ask permission, and the land does not resist. They remember each other. Tonight, you drift into those places, the quiet edges where land holds the memory of water, not in words, but in shapes. Here, the coastline is not a line. It is a rhythm, a story told in curves, in folds, in rise and fall. You lie near a tidal flat. The moon is watching, though she says nothing. And still, her memory is everywhere. The ground beneath you is not firm. It is soft with centuries of touch. Each tide that came before has left something behind, a layer of salt, a smooth stone, the ghost of a ripple. And when the water retreats, it does not disappear. It lingers in pools, in channels, in sighs across the sand. These places, the in-betweens, are not empty. They are alive. Salt marshes hum with quiet activity. Crabs scuttle sideways in the silver light. Birds trace long shadows over wet earth. Everything moves to the moon's remembered rhythm. Even the air seems to breathe. Differently here, slower, thicker, with mist and memory. The land is not just shaped by water, it holds it. Not in its hands, but in its bones. You see it now. How the edges of continents ripple, like the memory of every tide that has ever touched them. The cliffs, once sharp, are now rounded. The beaches, once bare, are now scattered with stories. Shells, driftwood, pieces of ocean language, every night. The moon rewrites the edges, and the land listens. This is not erosion, it's not destruction, it's intimacy. The moon reaches down, and the shore answers back with shape. You notice patterns, ripples pressed interseasoned like fingerprints. Grasses bending in the same direction, as if bowing. Even the light itself seems shaped, spilled, carefully across shallow pools and slick stones. These are moonlit memories. The moon does not need to remember. The land does it for her. And you, resting beside this slow conversation, are part of it. The soles of your feet, damp with tide-kissed sand, feel the ancient truth that this place has always been here, waiting, changing, listening. You think of estuaries, rivers meet the sea, where salt and sweet water hold hands. There too, the tide shapes the land's story. These are the softest borders on earth, not fought for, not drawn in lines, but negotiated gently each day, adrift a take. A breath. It is the moon that guides this, with no voice, only rhythm, and the land remembers. Even long after the tide has left, its shape remains, its touch lingers. You begin to feel it, too. A memory rising not from your mind, but from your skin. The sense that you've been here before, not in body, but in rhythm. You don't need to know when, only that you have. The tide will come again. The moon will rise again. The shore will shape itself again. And you will be here, quietly listening. The moonlight smooths your breath, and the sand beneath you feels like silk in the next chapter. You'll follow the tide as it moves across oceans, not gently brushing the shore, but flowing vast, guided by the moon's invisible hand. Close your eyes. The land remembers. Now, let the sea carry you onward. The land behind you fades now, its soft memory tucked into sand and seagrass, its edges still echoing the moon's quiet fingerprints. But ahead, the ocean opens, wide, endless, silver-veiled under the skies. Hush, you drift there now, far from shore, where the water no longer whispers in puddles or pools, but stretches out like a vast, sleeping animal. Its breath is steady beneath the stars, and yet, even here, where no footsteps have been, where silence settles, deep the moon's hand still moves. She does not press with force. She glides, not over the surface, but through it. You can almost see it, a hand trailing through still water, leaving behind long, slow waves that travel far beyond sight. These are not waves like the ones you know crashing and foaming at the beach. These are tides on the move. Whole ocean sets are shifting, not on top, but within. They are called tidal currents, movements that span continents, invisible rivers that run not over the earth, but through its open blue skin. The moon's hand stirs them, like a spoon in honey, slow, smooth and sure. Near the coasts, the pull is gentle, rhythmic, familiar. But out here, it becomes something deeper. The entire ocean rises slightly as the moon passes overhead. A global swell, a heave of water. You cannot see but what the ocean knows. And the sea, being so vast, responds in slow motion. The pull happens now, but the water's answer may arrive hours later, half a world away. That is the patience of the tides. You float gently above it all, feeling no splash, no stir, only the soft weight of stillness. But below you, the sea is moving, not chaotically, not blindly, but in quiet coordination with the sky. Even the deepest parts of the ocean are touched. The trenches, the hidden valleys, the slow-moving layers of cold and salt, all of it turns toward the moon, then falls. Away again, the moon pulls, and the ocean dreams. And sometimes, the moon and sun align, their hands reach together. And when they do, the tides grow taller, the pull is stronger. These are spring tides, named not for the season, but for the idea of leaping, stretching, reaching. Then come nipper tides, when the sun and moon drift apart, pulling the water in different directions, softening the stretch. It's a dance of light and gravity, and the ocean listens to every step. You think now of how long these movements have happened, how long the moon has held the sea, how long has the ocean followed. Before ships, before stars had names, before the first footprints kissed the shore, the sea was already moving, already listening. And here you are now, a small traveler floating above, something ancient and alive. You don't need to understand it, you only need to feel it. The moon's pull is not something to solve, it's something to surrender to. You drift, the stars tilt, and the tide beneath you continues its journey across trenches and coral forests, past whales and forgotten shipwrecks, through silence and light. It does not hurry, it does not stop, and as you exhale, you realize that you, too, are moving. Slowly, gently, in rhythm with the moon. In the next chapter, you'll leave the open sea behind and follow the tide as it touches the lives it nourishes, creatures, coasts, coral, and beyond. The moon's hand is not done. She still has more to reveal. Close your eyes. Let her carry you there. The moon's hand still moves the ocean, and now it begins to stir life. Behind you lies the wide open sea, softly shifting under starlight. Ahead, you drift toward shore once more, not to the land, but to the in-between. Here, where water and air trade places twice each day. Life has learned to listen. This is the tidal zone, a world that breathes with the moon, not just in rhythm, but in survival. You hover just above the surface now, and you see it begin. A crab emerges from a crack in the rocks, its body caught silver glints of moonlight, not hurried, not afraid, just waiting for the exact right moment. The tide has retreated, and the world is wet but exposed. In these moments, the creatures appear, not summoned but called, muscles open to taste the sea. Sea stars inch across slick stones. Tiny fish dart in leftover pools like living stardust. Every movement is quiet. Every action rehearsed over millions of moons. They are not guessing, they remember. The tide tells them when to feed, when to rest, when to retreat. Even the birds know. You watch as long-legged herons wade silently through shallow water, plucking small gifts from the waves. They do not chase, they wait. All of it, the crabs, the birds, the barnacles clinging like whispers to every surface, they are all students of the tide. But it is not only here in the open sea. Whales migrate with the seasons, their roots tuned to ocean currents shaped by the moon's long pull. Coral reefs spawn in unison, timed to lunar cycles, as if the moon were a clock they could read without eyes. Even microscopic, plankton tiny, glowing drifters rise toward the surface at night, following the moon's glow as if it were a lullaby. The whole ocean, from its smallest breath to its deepest voice, listens. And you, floating softly in the middle of it all, feel as though your own cells are leaning in too. Perhaps you are not separate from them. Perhaps, beneath your thoughts and stories and skin, you are just another creature, moving when the moon says move, still when the moon says rest. You watch a tide pool settle beside you. Its surface calms like sleep closing over a tired mind. But below the glassy top, an entire world stirs. Anemones sway like dreaming dancers. Tiny shrimp flicker like blinking stars. A small octopus, no larger than your hand, slips between stones, its skin shifting like ink in water. None of them speaks, and yet none of them are silent. This is a conversation without words, a rhythm of presence. The moon does not instruct, she simply arrives, and life follows. You wonder now about your own rhythm, how oft-endo you ignore it, rushed it, overridden it with noise and clocks and tasks. But here, in the tide's classroom, there is only listening, and in the stillness you hear something softer. You own need to pause, to rise and fall, to move in waves instead of lines. You are not a machine. You are a tide dweller too, and just like the creatures of the shallows, you thrive not by resisting the rhythm, but by living inside it. Let that be your lesson tonight, that sometimes it's not effort that keeps life in motion, but timing, stillness, response. As the tide begins to rise again, you see the creatures return to their shelters, not because they're afraid, but because the moment has passed. They will return again. So will you. In the next chapter, you'll follow the moon's pull into something less visible, into the body itself, into the water you carry, and the tides that rise quietly within you. For now, rest in the rhythm. You are part of it. The tide is rising again, not just in the sea, but in you. As the last chapter fades like foam into the sand, you begin to feel it, a quiet echo of the ocean, not under your feet but beneath your skin. You are still lying still. The moon still watches from above, but now she looks at you differently, as if she remembers something you forgot. And you begin to remember, too, that your body is not separate from the sea. It is a tide pool in its own right, a vessel of salt, of flow, of memory. More than half of you is water, not carried, but made. The very essence of your muscles, your breath, your thoughts dot your blood. A river of salt water, your cells, little floating oceans. You are, in quiet truth, a small piece of sea, shaped by time and wrapped in skin. And so, it makes sense, doesn't it? That the moon, who stirs the oceans, might stir you, too. You feel it sometimes. A sudden wave of emotion that rises, seemingly without reason. A quiet pull toward stillness, or a restless tide of thought in the middle of the night. Maybe these aren't random. Maybe you are moving in rhythm with something greater, something older, something gentle and unseen. Scientists have studied this. Of course, how the moon might touch sleep, or mood, or cycles deep inside the body. But tonight, you don't need data. You need only to listen to the quiet lapping within your chest, to the slow breath of your thoughts, to the way your pulse seems to soften in moonlight. The ocean inside you is not noisy. It doesn't crash or roar. It sighs, it remembers, and in the moon's presence, it speaks more clearly. You are lying beneath the sky, but you are also floating in your own sea. A sea of dreams, of feelings, of memories that come and go like tides on quiet shores. And just like the ocean, your inner world moves in cycles, moments of rising, moments of falling, moments of stillness in between. You are not meant to be constant. You are meant to flow. Let that be your comfort tonight. That rest is not a failure, but a tide is drawing in. That emotion is not chaos, but a moonlit ripple across still water, and that you are not lost, only drifting for a while, before the next return. You think now of the creatures you saw before, the ones who wait for the right tide, thus who trust in its return. You are like them, not because you live in water, but because you are shaped by rhythm. Even your sleep follows a cycle, light and deep, rise and fall. Your breath does too. And when you are sad, or tired, or still, you are not broken. You are between tides. You are waiting for the moon. You may not always notice her. You may forget to look, but she never forgets you. Her pull is quiet, but steady, and somewhere in your bones you feel it. Tonight, as you lie quiet, you are being gathered, not by force, but by rhythm. The ocean inside you listens still. In the next chapter, you will drift deeper into the moon herself, not as a force, but as a being of story and silence. You've seen her reflection in water. Soon, you will meet her face in dreams. Close your eyes. Your tides are calm. You are ready to rise. Your eyes are closed now, but you still see Hertha, one who has been with you through every tide, every breath, every gentle shift of thought. She's not just a light in the sky anymore. She's something more. You felt her pull in the ocean, in the sand, in your own quiet tides. And now, you begin to wonder about the face you've always seen in the moon. Not clearly, but always there. A pattern in the shadows. A soft gaze looking down from above. Children find animals there. A rabbit, a man, a grandmother, all made from patches of ancient lava plains called Maria, that once flowed across the moon's surface billions of years ago. But tonight, you don't see geology. You see the story. The moon isn't just a rock. She is a mirror, and every culture has seen something in her reflection. In China, they say a jade rabbit lives there, pounding elixirs of life beneath a sacred tree. In Native American tales, the moon is a quiet grandmother, watching over the earth with soft eyes. In ancient Greece, she was Selene, a goddess with silver wings and a crown of starlight, who drove her chariot across the night sky. In Norse myths, she was Mani, a brother chased through the heavens by wolves, always one step ahead of darkness. And in countless lullabies and whispered poems, the moon has been called a lantern, a guardian, a friend. You don't need to choose. Just one dot tonight, as you lie still beneath her light. You simply let her be what she's always been. Present, she is the only celestial body that shows her face, always turned toward you, always watching. The earth spins, the sun blazes, but the moon, she rotates just slowly enough that the same side always faces home. It's called tidal locking. A quiet agreement made long ago between gravity and time. You only ever see one face of the moon. And somehow that makes her feel more personal, more familiar, like someone who listens even when you don't speak. You begin to realize. You've known her since before you had words. As a child, you looked for her out the window. As a traveler, you measured nights by her shape. As a dreamer, you felt her pulling not just the tides, but your thoughts. And when you've felt alone, she's been there. Not with answers, but with presence. You watch her now, her pale glow, washing over the surface of the sea, her face unchanged for centuries, yet always new. There is a comfort in her stillness. She does not speak, yet she calms. She does not move quickly, yet she keeps perfect time. And when the rest of the world turns fast and loud, she remains soft, a constant. You wonder what it would feel like to stand on her surface, to look back at the earth, and see your home as a blue marble floating in black velvet. You'd see the continents not as borders, but as patterns, the oceans as great breathing spaces, the clouds as dreams drifting over everything, and maybe, just maybe, you'd understand how small you are, and how precious the moon sees you like that. From afar, but never distant, she's the keeper of tides, but also the holder of silence. And in that silence, you are safe in the next chapter. You'll follow the moon's path through the sky, not in straight lines, but in gentle spirals, in patterns written not with ink, but with time. Let her face fade into your thoughts now. Let her light become your breath. She is watching. She is still, and you are part of her quiet. Her face is still, with you soft, pale, constant. But now you begin to feel her motion, not the hurried spinning of clocks, not the jarring tick of seconds falling. No, her movement is slower, sweeter, spiral. You've watched the moon rise and fall. You've seen her drift across the sky like a silent boat on a black sea. But tonight you look closer, and what you find is a dance, not a circle, not a line, a spiral. The moon's path around the earth isn't perfectly round. It wobbles, tilts, leans gently forward, like a dancer swaying to an ancient rhythm only. She can hear she circles Earth every 27 days, but the Earth moves, too. So the moon's path isn't a ring, it's a ribbon, spiraling forward through space, like a braid of gravity and light, spinning slowly across the cosmos. You imagine it now. The Earth spins as it travels around the sun, and the moon spinning around the Earth, and everything gliding through space like dancers in a vast, silent waltz. There are no straight lines here, only curves, only rhythm. Even the moon's rise and set change day by day. Sometimes she's high and bright, other times she hovers low, barely peeking through the trees. She moves through phases, new, crescent, half full, not to hide, but to remind you that change is the natural shape of time. She never rushes, she never resists, she flows, and in her gentle orbit, she tugs softly at the oceans, in the air, at your thoughts. Because spiral motion is not just cosmic, it lives in you, too. You breathe in spirals, air flowing through curved lungs. You sleep in spirals, cycling through dreams and stillness. Even your DNA, the blueprint of life, is coiled like a spiral staircase made of light. The universe repeats its shape, again and again, from stars to cells, and the moon. She is the reminder, the spiral was written in the sky. She tilts 5 degrees off the Earth's plane, just enough to make her path dance between the stars. Sometimes closer, sometimes farther, never too far, never too close. This tilt, this wobble, gives birth to eclipses, 2 seasons, to the quiet pull of the tides, all from one soft spiral in the dark. And as you watch her arc across the sky, you no longer see distance, you see design. This is not chaos, it is choreography. Gravity holds her in an embrace so constant that it becomes invisible. But it is always there, a silent partner, a gentle pull, and she, the moon, never breaks step. Even when clouds cover her face, even when you forget to look, she is dancing still. A spiral is not a loop. It never returns to the same place. It circles. Forward, it evolves. Just like you, your thoughts spiral into sleep. Your memories spiral through time. And your life, though it feels like returning. Itis, always moving forward in graceful curves. There is peace in that. You do not need to rush to a destination. You only need to stay in motion, softly, slowly, in rhythm, in the next chapter. You'll look down into the earth itself to find the moon's influence buried in stone, in layers of fossil tides, in ancient memories written not in water, but in rock. For now, let the spiral carry you. Let her motion rock you toward rest. You are dancing to what you always have been. The spiral still turns above you, soft as a breath, steady as a heartbeat. But now your gaze begins to fall, downward, past clouds, past treetops, past sand and shell and shore, into the deep memory of the earth. The sea has moved with the moon for as long as there have been tides, and the earth has remembered, not in stories, not in words, but in stone. Tonight, you drift gently downward into layers of time held still beneath your feet. You begin in a canyon once carved by an ancient sea. The walls whisper of movement, each layer of rock, each band of sediment, a page in a book written in rhythm. You run your hand along one layer, and the grains flake off like centuries of breath. Tides once rose here. Moonlight once shimmered on this very water. Long ago, so long ago, that the moon was closer. Her pull was stronger. Tides were taller. Days were shorter. Did you know that, in Earth's early days, the moon orbited much nearer? The ocean leaped toward her like a child. The Earth spun faster days were just 6 hours long. But time, too, moves like a tide, and the moon has been drifting slowly away ever since, at the pace of growing fingernails, a tiny, endless goodbye. The earth has kept a record, in bands of limestone, in ripples frozen in clay, in fossils of tiny sea creatures that lived and died in the rhythm of the tide. Their bodies settled into the silt, layer by layer, compressed by time, held in place by stillness. Some shells have rings that record each rise and fall, thousands upon thousands. A lunar diary unread until now. And you are listening. You are lying against the memory of water, feeling its shape still echoes in the bones of the land. It's comforting, isn't it? To know the moon has always touched this world, and this world has always remembered, even when no one watched, even before eyes evolved to see. The tides were painting stories across the seabed. You drift now through ancient coral reefs, Frozen in stone, their growth rings measure not just time, but rhythm, the same rhythm you now feel in your pulse. Even inland deserts, remember, places far from today's oceans, still carry fossils of marine life, testimonies that once, when the moon was closer, the sea came here. It sang, it moved, and then it left. But it left softly, like a wave drawing back, leaving behind memory in the shape of stone. You reach out and press your hand against the rock. It is warm from the sun's memory and cool with shadows, breath. There is no sound, but there is presence. The earth is older than stories, older than names, and yet it remembers, in the only way it knows how. By keeping time in layers, by holding still when all else moves. And now, you begin to understand that memory is not always sharp or loud. Sometimes memory is gentle. Sometimes it is written in spirals. Sometimes it is simply the shape something leaves behind, like tides on sand, like fossils in rock, like moonlight on the surface of a sleeping mind. In the next chapter, you'll drift upward again into the realm of dreams and explore how sleep too follows the moon's path. But for now, rest in stone, rest in stillness. The tide will rise again. The stone beneath you breathes in silence, holding the memories of ancient tides. But now you begin to rise, not quickly, not with effort, just slowly, softly, like mist lifting from a still sea. You are no longer walking the shore, nor diving through fossil layers. You are floating in a space between thought and sleep, between tide and sky, and there you find something unexpected, a doorway inside you, a place where your dreams live, and where, even here, the moon is waiting. You've seen her on the water. You've felt her in the pull of the sea, in the curve of your thoughts, in the bones of the earth. But tonight, you meet her in your own mind, because dreams, just like tides, are ruled by rhythms. Your body, so full of quiet oceans, follows lunar, cycles in ways you rarely notice. Your sleep deepens near the new moon. It shifts near the full. You might feel more vivid dreams, more restless turning, more softness in your thoughts, all in tune with the moonlight above. Even your ancestors knew, long before clocks, long before calendars. They looked to the moon to know when to plant, when to gather, when to rest, and they looked to her glow as a guide into the dream world. You do too, though you may not realize it. Each night, as you close your eyes, your mind steps out into a tide of its own, a dream tide. It carries you far from facts, far from form, into shifting stories, glowing symbols, forgotten faces, and maybe, just maybe, the moon is there with you, not above, but beside, leading you deeper, lighting the edge of your inner sea. You see her now, not as a disk in the sky, but as a gentle companion walking barefoot through your thoughts. She leaves no footprints, but you feel where she's been. She brushes aside worry. She untangles restless loops. She paints your mind with silver, and as you sleep, your memories sort themselves, like sea glass on a calm beach, sharp edges smoothed, colors more vivid, meanings rearranged. The moon helps with that, not directly, not loudly, but in the way her cycles guide your own. Sleep is not stillness. It is motion in another direction, an inward tide, and dreams are not distractions. They are currents, pulling your mind toward balance. You see this now as your body rests, your breath softens, your thoughts loosen. You are floating in sleep's sea. The surface behind you, the depth ahead. You are held, and in this quiet space, you remember that dreaming is ancient. Even creatures of the sea have dreams. Octopuses pulse with shifting colors in their sleep, perhaps dreaming in ink. Seals drift in watery slumber, half their brains awake to the tide. Birds tuck beaks into feathers and flutter through imagined skies. And you ride this shared rhythm. The moon shines over all of it, watching, whispering, guiding. You do not need to understand the dream. You only need to trust the tide of it. Tonight, your dreams might carry you through underwater gardens. They might show you moons you've never seen, or remind you of forgotten feelings still floating beneath your thoughts. Let them come, let the dream tide rise, and when it falls, you will wake a little smoother, a little softer, like a stone shaped gently by the sea. In the next chapter, you'll explore how the moon's rhythms echo in art and music, in lullabies, in paintings, in poems that move like waves. But for now, drift deeper. The moon is dreaming with you. Your dreams are still gently floating, like lanterns on a calm black sea. You drift beneath them now, your breath smooth, your thoughts soft as silk threads. The moon hasn't left you. She never does. She simply changes shape and waits done. And now, in this new space, not quite sleep, not yet waking, you begin to hear her song. Not a melody with notes or instruments, not something loud or recorded, but a lullaby older than language, woven into the world like moonlight on ripples. You hear it first in the hush between waves, then in the slow rhythm of your breath, then in memories, not of moments, but of feelings. The moon has always inspired music, not because she demands it, but because she invites it. From the first lullabies sung beside cradles under the night sky, two symphonies written by candlelight, two whispers of poems under moonbeams, she has been muse, mirror, mother of rhythm. You think now of a mother humming to her child, a soft melody that sways like a rocking tide, each note cradling the next, like waves tucking secrets into the shore. That's what the moon's lullaby is. A rhythm without urgency, a sound you feel more than hear. Even in music made by human hands, the moon hides between the lines. Composers once wrote nocturnes, night songs inspired by her glow. Beethoven gazed at her and gave the world a sonata, its notes slow and reflective, like silver tears falling on piano keys. Painters, too, have tried to hold her. Brushstrokes turned night into soft blue, swirls of sky-like dreams still unfolding. And poets? Ah, the poets. They followed her faithfully, writing verses about longing, about quiet, about cycles and change and stillness. Their words became moonlight in human form, words that now live softly inside you. Because art isn't just made for the moon, it is made from her. She gives no instruction, yet she teaches stillness. She offers no voice, yet she speaks through rhythm, even lullabies in other languages. Ones you've never heard follow her. They rise and fall like breath. They carry warmth and quiet. They call the listener home. And tonight, as you rest, you realize your body is listening. To dot your heartbeat, slow and steady, is the drum behind her melody. Your breath is the flute. Your blood, the river that keeps time. You are not just hearing the moon's lullaby. You are playing it. The quietest music is the kind made in sleep, when there are no distractions. No noise from the world, only the echo of the stars inside you. The moon does not need to conduct. She only needs to be, and the music comes. There's a reason lullabies are sung at night, a reason they work best when the world is still, because somewhere deep inside, you already know how to fall, not to collapse, but to surrender into sound, into rhythm, into moonlight. You lie still now, wrapped in silence, but you feel the song within you, not words, not melody, but understanding. You've felt it before, in waves lapping softly at your feet, in wind brushing through tall grass, in the breath of someone you love, asleep beside you. All of it, lullaby, and the moon has been singing it the whole time. In the next chapter, you'll journey into the way animals follow her light, how their lives, too, are shaped by lunar rhythm. But for now, just rest. You are part of the song. You are part of the silence. And the moon is still humming. The moon's lullaby still hums gently through you. But now you begin to sense something more. Not sound, but movement. Not memory, but instinct. You remain still, floating in the dark warmth of this bedtime world, but somewhere beneath you, the world is shifting in soft, hidden ways. You begin to notice how animals, wild, quiet, ancient, listen to the moon, not with minds, but with bodies. You see them now in your dreaming gaze. A sea turtle, buried in the sand, rises slowly under moonlight. Her journey is not guided by map or sound. It is written in the tides, in the light, in instinct. She waits for the full moon, that one perfect night, and then she moves across the beach, into the waves, carried by a rhythm deeper than reason. You follow her, and beneath the water, the sea glows with life tuned to the moon. Corals whole, reefs of them, release clouds of life into the current on moonlit nights, not randomly, not recklessly, but all at once, as if the moon herself had whispered, now. This synchronization is not planned, it is felt. The moon's light touches the water, and the water tells the creatures, and they obey, not with fear, not with question, but with trust. You drift now above silverfish, rising and falling with the tide, small and shimmering like floating stars. They come in with the waves. They leave with them, too. Not because they are told, but because the ocean whispers in the moon's voice. And they know how to listen. Even on land, the pull continues. You imagine wolves howling up into the sky, not out of madness, but reverence beneath. Their howls, there is a map of memory, a sound that echoes their awareness of something watching above. In forests, owls wait for the moon before they fly, their wings almost silent, their eyes full of glow. In fields, insects hum with new energy on moonlit nights. Some rise, some rest, but all adjust, not to clocks, but to the sky and humans. You, too, are part of this quiet choreography. Long ago, before city lights softened the stars, people, planted by the moon, sailed by her glow, slept and woke in time with her waxing and waning. Even now, your hormones shift slightly with the lunar cycle. Your sleep deepens or stirs. Your moods rise and fall like gentle waves. You are not separate from nature. You are not standing apart from the tides. You are among them. The moon does not command. She invites. She reminds every living thing choose slow, to sense, to respond with softness rather than resistance. You are like the turtle, the coral, the owl. You feel something shift in the dark, and you begin to move in your own small, sacred way. Even your instincts, those quiet nudges, those wordless tugs, may be guided by something as simple as moonlight. You don't have to understand it fully. You only have to trust that you, too, were shaped by rhythms older than memory. And maybe that's why sleep feels easier now. Why rest feels less like stopping and more like joining a quiet stream already flowing without you. The moon watches, you respond, and together a balance is kept in the next chapter. You'll drift through cities and rooftops and explore how even modern life, surrounded by noise and light, still listens to the moon in unexpected ways. But for now, curl into that instinct. Let your breath follow it. Let your thoughts sway with it. The wild inside you is listening. The forest fades behind you now, and the sound of waves slips into a hush not gone, only quieted by distance. In their place, you begin to hear something else. A soft hum, a distant rumble, the gentle flicker of lights across windows and rooftops. You've drifted into the city. Not loud, not harsh, not tonight. This city has been slowed by sleep. Its sharp corners softened in moonlight. Its towers sail like mountains made of quiet steel. Even here, surrounded by glass and glowing screens. The moon finds her way in. She reflects off windshields, shines between curtains, slides down alley walls with the same grace as she does across oceans. Her light cannot be stopped by concrete, and her rhythm cannot be silenced by machines. You walk now through empty streets. Your footsteps don't echo, they float above you. The moon hangs like a street lamp from another world. She has seen cities rise, has watched humans build and break and build again. But she has never turned away. Even as people forgot to look up, she remained faithful, silent, watching you pass a rooftop garden, small, overgrown, glowing softly in silver. A cat curls beneath a patch of lavender, its eyes half closed, its breath timed to the tide of night. And inside the buildings, behind warm windows, some lights flicker off. Some stay on, but the moonlight pours in anyway through skylights, through glass elevators, through dust-laced attic vents. Even the tallest towers can't block her entirely. She slides between them like a sigh. You imagine the people asleep. Inside these walls, their hearts still beating in lunar time, their minds floating in dreams. They don't remember dreams stirred by the same rhythms that guide oceans and owls and coral. The moon does not need nature to shine. She does not wait for silence. She simply is, and in her stillness, even cities become softer. You feel it now how even modern life has patterns, the way traffic ebbs and flows, the way people gather and disperse, the way neon signs blink like bioluminescent creatures. And yes, how your own routines, working, resting follow invisible tides. You wonder how often you forget this. How often do you trade rhythm for rush? But tonight, under this quiet moon, you remember, you are not a machine. You are not made of straight lines. You are a rhythm living in a city of spirals. And sometimes, moonlight is all it takes to remind you. Pass a window where someone is still awake. A writer, perhaps, or a painter, or a soul just not ready to sleep. They pause, look out, and for a moment, you feel their gaze meet yours through the moon's reflection. You are not alone, not in this city, not in this rhythm, not in this quiet. Even with all the lights we've built, we've never replaced the moon. She still guides tides, still marks time, still stirs something deep inside us. And if you look closely, you'll see her influence in subway maps, in song lyrics, in bedtime stories told from balconies. You'll see it in streetlights timed to soften at dusk, in children pressing their faces to apartment windows to look for the moon before bed. She is everywhere. Even here, in the next chapter, you'll rise above the city and look at the Earth from space to see how the moon's presence shapes our planet as a whole. But for now, rest under her glow. Let the city fade. Let the moon remain. She is your guide, even in the heart of human light. The city slips behind you, its rooftops and windows dissolving like lanterns in fog. You are rising now, not in haste, but in wonder. Drawn upward, weightless, quiet, and soon the clouds fall away beneath you. The curve of the earth appears not flat and crowded, but round and glowing, floating in a black sea of stars. You are no longer looking at the moon. You are standing with her, gazing back at your world. From here, the earth is impossibly soft. Notice Harper's maps, not divided like borders, just one whole breathing planet, turning slowly in space. Blue oceans swirl like spilled ink. White clouds spiral over continents. Lights flicker in cities far below, but they seem small now. Tiny embers on a vast, sleeping orb. And the moon, she watches. She always has. She holds Earth close, not with hands, but with gravity, a pull that keeps oceans in rhythm, that steadies the planet's spin, that gives Earth the balance to dream. Without the moon, the Earth would wobble wildly, its seasiosonies unstable, its nights unmoored. She is the anchor, the counterweight, the silent partner in a celestial dance. And from where you now float, beside her pale light, to begin to see what she sees. Not traffic or towers, not schedules or screens, but weather systems spinning like soft galaxies, coastlines curling like sleeping dragons, mountains like wrinkles on a wise old face. You realize Earth, from here, is not noisy. She's quiet, like a lullaby, and the moon has been listening forever. You think now of the astronauts who stood on the moon's surface and turned their gaze back home. They said it changed them, that seeing Earth like this, so fragile, so glowing, so whole, made them feel part of something much bigger and much smaller all at once. They didn't see countries. They didn't see chaos. They saw blue. They saw breath. They saw home. And you feel it too. A sense of stillness, of clarity, that no matter how far you drift, you are always connected. To tides, to light, to gravity, to home. The moon has no air, no water, no sound, and yet she reflects Earth's beauty in a way no mirror ever could. She holds our planet in her orbit, steady and faithful, reminding us of where we are, not just in space, but in time. You watch now as night sweeps across the earth below. One half glows with golden sun, the other folds into velvet dark. The line between them moves gently, a tide of its own, and you understand, even darkness is part of the rhythm. From the moon, everything looks like part of a cycle. Light becomes shadow. Shadow becomes light. Over and over again. Asterisk, and somehow that's comforting. Because your own life, your thoughts, your days, your dreams also move in cycles. Moments of clarity. Moments of stillness. Moments of becoming dot from here. You see them all as part of something whole. The moon shows you this, not with words, but with perspective. And when it is time to return, to drift softly downward, back toward oceans and rooftops, and rest, you do so with a new kind of knowing, that you are not alone in your smallness, that you are part of something vast, that even from a great distance, the moon sees you glowing quietly in the dark dot in the next chapter. You will follow her shadow across the earth as you explore the dreamy spectacle of eclipses, those rare moments when the sun, moon, and planet align in silent symmetry. But for now, float a little longer. Let the earth spin beneath you. Let the moon keep her watch. You are held in her quiet orbit, exactly where you need to be. The earth still turns softly below you, its blues and whites swirling in silence. But now, you notice a shadow moving across its surface, not harsh, not frightening, just quiet, like a breath drifting over a sleeping face. It is the moon's shadow. She stepped gently between the earth and the sun, and for a moment, light is paused. A celestial hush. You are witnessing an eclipse, not an ending, not a battle, but a meeting, a slow, perfect alignment of the sun, the moon, and the earth, three old companions circling in space, briefly joining hands. The moon, so small compared to the sun, can, for just a few minutes, cover it completely. Because of distance and perspective and balance, she is 400 times smaller than the sun, but also 400 times closer to us, and so, the size of her shadowitis, just enough. It's as if the universe whispered a secret into math and left it there, for us to wonder at. From Earth, people look up and the sky begins to dim, as if someone is slowly lowering the lighting, a great theater of stars. Birds go quiet, flowers close, shadows sharpen, even the wind hushes, and then totality. The sun becomes a black circle, crowned in white fire, and the world beneath it feels changed, not because it's dangerous, but because it's rare. You watch it from above now, this shadow slipping over cities and seas, like a silk ribbon pulled across the skin of the planet. It doesn't last long, just a few minutes, but time seems to stretch. People fall silent, some cry, some cheer, some simply stare, because when shadows kiss the sun, something ancient stirs inside us, something that remembers what it means to stop, to look up, to be still. In ancient times, eclipses frightened people. They thought the sun was being eaten, or stolen, or mourned. But over centuries, fear gave way to awe. If you listen closely tonight, you might hear it, a lullaby, so quiet you could mistake it for silence. But it's there, and it's been playing for billions of years. It's the lullaby the moon hums to sleeping earth, to drifting tides, to dreamers like you. You don't need music to hear it. You only need stillness. You close your eyes and begin to listen. It starts low, like a hum beneath your bones. The rhythm of orbit, the pulse of gravity, the heartbeat of night. Each crater on the moon's surface is a note, a memory struck, a sound absorbed, a verse in an endless song. She doesn't cry out. She sings by remembering. The lullaby doesn't ask you to forget. It asks you to rest with what you carry, to breathe alongside your sorrows, not hide them. You are not too loud. You are not too quiet. You are exactly the right shape for this moment. The moon's lullaby is not one of perfection, but presence. You feel it now in your chest, a slow, rocking calm, like waves, like wind, like whispers in the dark. You remember being held as a child, rocked until sleep claimed you. Tonight, it is the moon that holds you. Her arms are made of light. Her voice is silence. But her comfort is real. Let her lullaby fill you. Now through your ribs, through your thoughts, through your breath, there is nothing left to do. Nowhere else to be, Only this moment, only this rest. You are safe, you are seen, you are sung to by the moon. Sleep now, let the lullaby carry you. Let it write your dreams in light and craters. You are home. Tonight, the sky is clear and the moon is glowing full. You see her reflection in a lake, soft, delicate, but unmistakable. And suddenly, you realize something. The moon doesn't need to be seen to exist. She shines, even when hidden. She reflects, even when no one looks. And so do you. There are parts of you that still shine in the quiet, in the unnoticed, in the forgotten corners of your day. You remember, maybe, when someone told you that you matter, but more deeply, you remember the times when no one did. And yet, you kept going. You made someone smile. You showed up. You listened. You breathed. Even without applause, you reflected light. You are a moon to someone you may never know. A quiet presence. A soft pull. A rhythm in their world. You don't need to be loud to be radiant. Just like the moon needs no voice to guide the tides. You need no spotlight to create gentle ripples in the hearts of others. You float now into a mirror of water, where your own face reflects. But it isn't a reflection of ego. It's one of wonder, because the same forces that move the moon through space live inside of you. The same patience, the same softness, the same glow. You don't have to force anything. Just reflect, just respond, just continue in stillness, in kindness, in quiet truth. The moon is not a sun. She is something else entirely, and so are you. There is a kind of watching that asks nothing, that judges nothing, that simply sees and stays. That is how the moon watches you. Tonight you lie beneath her again, not speaking, not moving, and yet you feel seen, not by eyes, but by presence. She doesn't blink. She doesn't demand. She simply reflects, and in that reflection, something in you softens. You think of all the times you wanted someone to understand, to notice, to hold space for your quiet sorrow. The moon always did. Even when you didn't notice her, even when you were too busy, too distracted, too tired to look up, she waited. And maybe that's the greatest kind of love, not the loud kind, not the urgent kind, but the still kind, the kind that stays. You drift now through memories, moments when silence felt heavy, a lonely walk, a sleepless night, a deep question with no answer, and in each of them the moon was there, not fixing, not filling, just being. You don't have to earn her attention. You don't have to perform. You can lie on the floor, in your most tangled thoughts, and still the moon watches with calm eyes. And somehow that makes the ache a little gentler. You don't need words tonight. You don't even need meaning, just stillness, just space. Let your breath slow again. Let the hush settle into your bones. In a world that always wants something from you, the moon wants nothing. She already sees you, exactly as you are, and she's not leaving. You've seen the moon's soft glow, her silver hush, her glowing perfection, but tonight you draw closer, close enough to see the details, not just the light, but the craters, the scars, the marks of what she's lived through. You float over her surface now, slow and reverent. You don't land, you just observe. Each crater tells a story, not of weakness, but of witness. They are not flaws, they are memories. And in a strange way, they remind you of yourself. You, too, have craters' wounds, failures, things you carry quietly. But like the moon, you still shine. And maybe That's the beauty of it. Maybe the shine isn't despite the scars. Maybe it's because of them. Each time something hit the moon, she absorbed it, held it, and continued her orbit. She didn't crumble. She adapted, and you have too. You remember now the chapters of your life that carved something into you. Some beautiful, some difficult, some still tender. But they are not accidents. They are topography. They give shape to who you are. You glide now through an ancient lunar basin, the oldest crater of them all. It's deep and wide, but quiet, peaceful even. It has been there longer than anything on Earth, and it remains. That's what memory does. Not to haunt you, to hold you, to remind you that you've lived, that you've endured, that you've grown. There is strength in softness. The moon teaches that. She doesn't fight her past. She reflects it. You think now of your own deepest memories, of the pain you've hidden, of the moments you thought you wouldn't survive. But you did. You are still here, still orbiting, still glowing. And even in the darkest night, you are seen. You are not the wound. You are the light that holds it. And when others see your light, they may not know what shaped it, but they will feel its warmth. The moon's craters are visible even from Earth. And yet, we don't love her any less. In fact, we love her more, because she shows us that being marked doesn't mean being broken. It means being real. You begin to rise now, gently, leaving the surface behind, but you carry something with you, a quiet reverence for your own journey. You are not smooth, you are not untouched, but you are whole. And as you return to your resting place, you understand, your past does not dim your light. It gives it shape, it gives it truth. Sleep now with your memories tucked beside you. Let them breathe, let them soften. The moon remembers hers. So may you, and still, shine. You've heard her above you, seen her in the sky, felt her touch in the tides and trees, but tonight you feel her somewhere else, somewhere deeper beneath your skin, not like a shadow, not like a burden, but like a thread, silver glowing, softly woven through your breath, your bones, your remembering. You lie still, and within that stillness, a quiet realization begins to bloom. The moon is not far away. She is within you. Every part of your body listens to her. Your sleep, your cycles, your peace. Even the oceans in your cells move in tiny tides. And it makes sense, doesn't it? You are made mostly of water. And what is water, if not moonlight? In motion, you close your eyes, and suddenly you see her reflection not on lakes or windows, but on your own heartbeat. Thump. A waxing moon. Thump. A waning one. Your breath rises and falls, not randomly, but with rhythm. That rhythm is lunar. Inside your chest is a small, silent moon, not glowing, but guiding. You feel it when you're calm, when you pause between tasks, when the world fades, and you return to yourself. It's in that moment, right before sleep, when your thoughts scatter like stardust, and your body begins to float. The moon beneath your skin opens a doorway, and through that doorway, you step into deep knowing that you are not separate from the sky, not separate from the sea. You are one more orbit, one more rhythm, one more whisper in the long, beautiful silence of space. You remember the nights when your emotions rose without warning, full moon feelings, waves crashing inside, and the nights when you felt hollow, barely visible, like a crescent sliver. You weren't broken. You were cycling, waxing, waning, resting. Becoming the moon beneath your skin never stops changing. but she always returns. And so do you. You are allowed to grow slowly, to be bright one night and hidden the next. You are allowed to rest without explanation, to reflect, not produce, to feel, not fix. In the next chapter, whenever it may arrive, you'll drift further outward, perhaps through memory, perhaps through time. But for now, stay here. Feel the silver thread that weaves the moon into your muscles, your marrow, your breath. She is not far. She is home, and so are you. Somewhere beyond the tides, beyond gravity and craters, there is a place few ever visit. It doesn't appear in maps. It doesn't obey time. But if you close your eyes and breathe very slowly, you might find it. Tonight, you are drifting there to the moon's secret garden. No rockets, no helmets. Just breath and wonder. You land softly, not on dusty rock, but on velvet soil. The garden glows, silver blue, bathed in quiet moonlight. The plants are not like Earth's. They grow in spirals, soft curves, with leaves that shimmer like frost. You wander through lunar flowers, petals shaped like stardust, soft enough to fall apart in your palm, but strong enough to survive the cold of space. The moon tends this garden, not with hands, but with rhythm. Her orbit is the watering can, her glow, the sun, her silence, the soil. You come to a tree, tall and hollow. Its bark is etched with memories, not written in letters, but in feelings. You run your fingers over them and feel warmth, like someone remembering you without saying a word. This is where forgotten wishes go, where quiet dreams bloom even when no one sees them. You sit beneath that tree, and for the first time in a long while, you don't need answers, just stillness, just presence. The garden around you hums faintly, like a lullaby with no melody, just comfort, just belonging. This is not a garden of goals. It is not here to produce. It is here to be. And so are you. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to bloom on command. Your very being is enough, and just like the moon's garden, you grow in ways unseen, slowly, quietly, miraculously. You lie down now among the silver vines. The soil holds you. The air wraps around you like a song. In the next chapter, you may return to Earth's tides, to breath and blood and memory. But tonight, you rest where dreams grow roots. In a garden only the moon knows, and now, so do you. Sleep deeply, you are planted in peace. And now, they are moments of collective breath, of remembering how vast the sky is, and how precise its dance must be. The moon moves at just the right pace. The earth turns at just the right speed. The sun waits behind them both, a giant, patient flame dot, and for that brief moment, when everything lines up, we are reminded that the universe does not rush. It rotates, it returns, it waits for the perfect moment. You think now about the shadows in your own life, those times when light felt hidden, when clarity was briefly covered. They were not endings. They were eclipses, pauses, moments when the pattern realigned, and always the light returned. Always, even the darkest eclipse is only temporary, and sometimes it's the only time you truly notice the light because it briefly left. You watch the moon's shadow move on now, sliding across continents, then over oceans, before dissolving softly into open sky. The sun returns. The world brightens, but something has changed. Not the sky, you, because in that quiet alignment, you remembered your place, not as something small, but as something woven into a vast, delicate pattern. You belong to the rhythm. You are part of the shadow and part of the light. In the next chapter, you'll explore how myths and cultures throughout history explained the moon's power, how they painted her with gods, animals, and stories that glowed. But for now, rest in the quiet after the eclipse. Let the memory of the shadow soften into a peaceful dark. The light will always find you again, and the moon will always know when to step gently between. The eclipse has passed, leaving the sky clear and still. But something lingers, not the shadow, not the awe, but the story. You feel it now, woven into the night air, a whisper, an image, a myth. Because long before we understood orbits and shadows, we had imagination. And the moon, glowing, changing, unreachable, became a canvas for wonder. You drift now across time, through villages and temples, around fires and across scrolls, to meet the moon through other eyes. In ancient China, they told of change. A woman who floated up to the moon, forever watching the world below with a rabbit by her side, pounding herbs for immortality. You picture her now, graceful in flowing robes, walking softly across silver dust, watching the earth like a mother watches a child asleep in the legends of the Aztecs. The moon was the brother who hesitated, shy, uncertain, while his sibling became the sun. And so he glows less brightly, forever following behind, carrying humility in his gentle light. In Norse mythology, a wolf chases the moon through the sky. When the moon wanes, it is said the wolf has caught him for a moment, only to let him go. Again, you smile at that thought, how even predators in stories know to let the moon return. In parts of Africa, the moon was a wise king, or a lonely wanderer, or a messenger between worlds. In Greece, Selene drove her chariot across the sky, her silver horses pulling night across the earth, while lovers whispered her name into pillows and poems. So many names, so many shapes, a goddess, a rabbit, a hunter, a guide. All stories are carved in moonlight, and still we tell them. Because science explains the moon, but myth makes her beautiful. Not just what she is, but what might she'll be. Because there is something in Usan, every culture, in every age, that looks at the moon and sees more than a rock. We see meaning, we see magic, and you. You are part of that story too. Even now, in your quiet bed, you carry myths inside you. The way the full moon feels like a call, the way the crescent seems to listen, the way her presence stirs something just beyond your understanding. Not everything must be explained. Some things are meant to be felt, and the moon has always lived in that space between reason and wonder, between light and dark, between what is and what might be. You imagine now a storyteller, 1,000 years ago, telling a child why the moon changes shape. Because she's dreaming, they might say. She grows full when her heart is full, and fades when she's deep in thought. You think of that story, and it feels no less true than anything you've read in a science book. Because stories don't replace knowledge. They soften it, they give it warmth. They make it sleep-ready. And tonight, as you lie beneath that ancient moon, you don't need facts, you need to feel. You need myth, you need metaphor. You need the kind of truth that glows. In the next chapter, you'll wander through the moon's phases and feel how each one carries its own mood, its own dream. But for now, let the stories hold you. Let them tuck you in like old lullabies. The moon is still up there, but she's not alone. She carries centuries of dreams, and tonight, she's adding yours to the sky. The myths still linger around you, gentle as smoke. From a candle just blown out, they curl in the corners of your thoughts, stories whispered in silver. But now your gaze returns upward, not to one moon, but to many, because she is never the same. She waxes, she wanes, she hides, she shines, and each shape she wears, it's a different kind of lullaby. Tonight, you drift through her phases, not as science, but as emotion. You begin with the new moon, a sky without a face. She is invisible now, but present. She watches from behind the curtain, letting the stars take center stage. It's a time of beginnings, of blank pages, of deep dark soil before the sprout. A whisper that says, wait, trust, something is coming. And then, a sliver, a waxing crescent, like a secret smile. She grows, slowly, patiently, like confidence returning after silence. There is hope here. And hush, then comes the first quarter. Half lit, half hidden, balanced, deciding. She stands between shadow and shine, reminding you that progress doesn't need perfection, only direction. You feel yourself growing with her, softly, quietly. She continues. The waxing gibbous phase arrives. More light now, almost full, but not quite. It's a time for refinement, for almost there, for adjusting the sail, not rushing to shore. And then she becomes complete, the full moon, round, radiant, unapologetically whole. She glows with the fullness of knowing, of being seen, of carrying every moment, every tide, every story in one soft blaze. Some say full moons bring restlessness, others say clarity, but you feel neither. You feel stillness, like something in you recognizes that light and fullness don't need to shout. They can just be. But she doesn't stay full forever. She begins to shrink, to wane. The waning gibbous carries wisdom, not growing now, but understanding, letting go, releasing, sharing what was learned in silence. Then comes the last quarter, half moon again, but reversed. This is the moon of turning inward, of cleaning, clearing, making space, and finally, the waning crescent, a gentle goodbye, a faded eyelash in the morning sky. She is retreating, but not in sadness, only in trust. The cycle will begin again. She's not vanishing, she's resting, and so are you. Because these phases, these quiet transformations, don't just happen in the sky. They happen to you, too. You've felt your own new moon's moments of stillness, of emptiness that blooms into growth. You've had your full moon's moments when your spirit shines without trying. And you've known the waning days, the ones where quiet matters more than noise, and release feels like a gift. The moon teaches you, not through lecture, but through example. She changes constantly and never apologizes for it. She shines fully, and then lets herself dim. She grows and fades without rush, without resistance. And you are learning to do the same. In the next chapter, you will explore how this lunar rhythm affects the tides below, how oceans swell and fall in harmony with the moon's phases. But for now, lie still beneath her. Asterisk whether she is full or fading, bright or hidden, she is always whole. And so are you. The moon has changed again, not in spirit, but in shape. And far below her, the ocean listens. You begin to feel it now, this silent language between sky and sea. It's not spoken in words, but in motion. You are drifting once more, this time. Above open water, vast, quiet, endless. The moon floats overhead, her light spilling like milk onto the shoulders of the waves. And beneath you, the tides begin to breathe. They rise, they fall, as if the ocean is exhaling in her sleep. It's easy to imagine the moon holding invisible threads, pulling gently on the water, not commanding, just inviting. The tides answer with grace. When the moon is new or full, her gravity joins with the sun's, and together they draw the ocean higher. These are the spring tides, not named for the season, but for the leap, a swelling, a fullness, a breath held and released. And when the moon is at her quarters, half lit, balance the sun and moon pull in different directions, and the tides soften. These are neap tides, quieter, gentler, still in rhythm, but slower in reach. It is not just about water, it is about rhythm. The moon is the pendulum and the ocean, the clock. Twice a day, in most places, the sea creeps in, then slips away, a slow inhale, a long exhale. And as you float here, you realize it isn't just the ocean that listens. Estuaries, where rivers meet the sea, change shape with each tide. Salt and fresh blend, then separate. Like breath mixing with thought, even animals follow the pulse. Tiny crabs wait for the tide to retreat so they can dance on wet sand. Asterisk oysters open when the moon pulls the tide, in feeding, filtering, sensing. The rhythm, seaweed sways in underwater gardens, not in stillness, but in soft surrender to the lunar tug. You imagine the moon as a conductor, and the entire sea as her symphony, each wave a note, each current a phrase. And though the music is silent to your ears, your heart somehow knows the song, because you, too, are mostly water, and though you do not rise and fall like the bay, you are not untouched. Your sleep, your emotions, your sense of time all have tides of their own. Some nights you feel full, others you feel like you're receding, and both are part of the pattern. You are not made to be one thing, always like the ocean. You are made to move. You are shaped by the moon even when you don't feel it. You've seen it in your moods, in the way the night feels heavier when the moon is high, in how your thoughts seem to drift deeper when the tide is out. This isn't magic. It is sana mystery. It's belonging to a system older than memory, to a pull you don't need to understand, to feel in the next chapter. You'll follow this tide inward into the human body and explore how lunar rhythms may stir our biology in ways we've only just begun to notice. But for now, let the ocean rock you, let the moon pull softly on your sleep, let the tide return without effort. You are floating in the same rhythm that moves countenance, feeds reefs, and writes poems in waves, and the moon is still conducting. The tides have faded behind you now, their rhythms still echo softly in your breath. But as you drift deeper inward, you begin to wonder, the moon moves oceans, what does she move in you? You are still floating, but now you are no longer above the sea. You are inside yourself, and within you there is another tide. Your heart pulses, a quiet drumbeat. Your lungs rise and fall, a moonlit sea of breath, and your blood carries a rhythm. To dot it flows in waves, not all at once, but in measured motion, a river within a vessel, moved not just by muscle, but by mystery. For centuries, humans have felt this connection. They've looked at the moon and felt something stir, a sleepless night, a sudden emotion, a whisper of change without a clear cause. Ancient doctors believed the moon ruled the fluids of the body. They called them humours, the tides of temperament. Today, we call them hormones, But the idea is not so different, because there is a cycle in you, and though science may hesitate to name it, your body often knows. Some studies have shown that sleep patterns change with the lunar phase, even when no light is visible. Some people sleep less near the full moon, even in dark rooms, as if the body feels the moon, not with eyes, but with memory. Women's bodies, in particular, have long been linked to the moon, the word menstruation itself rooted in mensis, the Latin word for month. Some cycles align closely with the lunar month, as if the body is dancing with the sky, even in silence. And for others, men and women alike, the moon stirs more subtle rhythms. You may notice feelings rise when the moon is full, not always explained, but deeply felt. Perhaps it is not superstition. Perhaps it is a remembrance of a time when we lived by moonlight, not clocklight, when nights were guided by phases, not phone screens, when sleeping and waking flowed with the tide, not the alarm. You are a creature of cycles. You were never meant to be constant. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, so do your energy, your moods, your needs. There is no shame in changing, in slowing, in brightening. The moon teaches you this without ever saying a word. You feel it now, a calm acceptance, that you are not broken for feeling tired one night and energized the next. You are not flawed for growing and shrinking in spirit. You are following your own tide, and the moon is near. Even your dreams, some believe, are touched by her, that under her light the mind dives deeper. Memories shift, the subconscious unfurls, and even if science cannot measure it fully, you feel the truth in your bones. You are not disconnected from the cosmos. You are shaped by it. You are a lunar being, walking in daylight, but sleeping in rhythm with something ancient in the next chapter. You'll step into the moon's shadow once more, not as fear, but as sanctuary, to explore the comfort of darkness and the beauty of quiet nights. But for now, breathe slowly. Let your blood flow like tide water. Let your thoughts drift like moonlight. There is no need to be full every night. Sometimes the crescent is enough. Your blood has quieted, the inner tides settled like a still lagoon. And now, as you drift deeper into the night, you feel the dark around you, but it does not frighten you. It cradles you, because there is a difference between being lost in the dark and being held by it. This chapter is not about fear, it's about sanctuary. The moon, after all, does not always shine. She disappears each month, a new moon, a blank sky. But even in her absence, she is still there, just turned away. And in that hiddenness, there is peace. You float now through a world wrapped in shadow, not pitch black, but soft and dusky, like velvet drawn over a lamp. Everything moves more slowly here. Your thoughts, your breath, your very sense of time. You are in the sanctuary of shadows, where dreams are born, where stillness teaches, where light rests before returning. So often we're taught to seek light, to chase brightness, to fill every space. But the moon teaches something gentler, that darkness is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is paused in forests. Nightfall invites creatures to emerge, owls, moths, foxes with eyes like mirrors. They are not afraid. They are made for this. And perhaps, in some quiet corner of your being, you are made for it. 2. Because it is in the darkness that we listen more closely. We notice the rustle of leaves, the hush of wind, the rhythm of our own heart. Shadow removes distraction. It invites reflection. You think now of moonless nights in history, when ancient people gathered close, not out of fear, but to share stories, to look inward, to rest. The dark was not the end of the day. It was the beginning of dreaming, and even today, your body knows this. Your pupils widen in dim light. Your ears are tuned to subtle sounds. Your nervous system settles, preparing for restoration. You were built for the sanctuary of shadows. You imagine yourself in a small room now, walls of soft stone, a single candle flickering low. There is no rush, no task, no need to shine, only the hush, only the breath, only the moon's invisible gaze, even though she is hidden. You can feel her. She moves through the sky like a guardian, covering you with a blanket of quiet, and just as she reappears, each month you, too, will return. But not yet. First, you rest. First, you remember that darkness is part of the cycle, a necessary part. Without it, the stars would vanish, the tides would never fall, the body would never sleep, and the moon would never shine. So tonight, as your eyes grow heavy, let the shadows be soft, let them be kind, let them be sanctuary. In the next chapter, you'll float with the dreamers, those who find visions, stories, and insights bathed in lunar quiet. But for now, stay here in this gentle dark asterisk, in this quiet room inside the sky. You are not alone. You are simply unseen. And even now, the moon is watching from the other side of the veil. The sanctuary of shadows still wraps around you, soft and slow, but something begins to stir within that hush, not noise, not light, but vision. You are entering the realm of the dreamers now. They walk where waking ends and stories begin. And above them always, the moon glows quietly, a lantern for the imagination. You drift now through a meadow of slumber, where thoughts float like fireflies, and time bends like a ribbon in water. All around you, others are dreaming too. You pass. A poet asleep beneath an open window, a notebook still resting in their lap. Their fingers twitch as they chase phrases only the moon can hear. You float by a child, curled like a question mark, dreaming of silver wolves and floating islands. The moonlight dances on their eyelids as if writing lullabies in Morse code. You even pass a philosopher breathes steady, mind drifting through the stars, asking questions that have no answers, only echoes, and the moon. She listens to them all. She has long been the companion of dreamers, not because she gives answers, but because she gives silence, a canvas, a mirror, a gentle light in which thoughts can wander. Many cultures believed dreams came from the moon, that she opened a gate between waking and sleeping, between the self you know and the one that watches quietly behind your eyes. Even now, scientists study the moon's effect on sleep, how REM patterns shift, how deep rest rises and falls like the tide. But you don't need charts to feel it. You've known it your whole life. Those strange dreams near the full moon, those restless nights before change, those moments when sleep feels deep as the sea. That's the moon's touch, not loud, not certain, but there you remember your own moon dreams, the ones that didn't make sense, but stayed with you anyway. The dream where you were flying through oceans of glass. The one where you were talking to someone who had no face, but somehow knew your name. The one where you stood on the moon herself, feet weightless, as earth turned below like a marble in a child's hand. You didn't understand them. You weren't meant to. Dreams are not puzzles to be solved. They are tides to be felt, and the moon is the tidekeeper. She does not command your sleep. She blesses it. She touches it like a harp string, and let it sing. Even now, as you float through this world of quiet dreaming, you feel her presence, not just above, but within, like a second heartbeat, a softer one. You pass more sleepers, a painter, a gardener, a dancer, all of them still, all of them wandering inward, guided by the moon. And you are no longer watching, you are dreaming too. Maybe you'll forget this dream. Maybe it will fade by morning, like mist on a lake. But the feeling will remain. The feeling that you belong to something older, something softer, something that understands you without needing to explain in the next chapter. You'll rise gently from this dreaming place to follow the moon through time itself, to see how she has measured the days, the seasons, the centuries. But for now, stay here. Let your breath be a poem. Let your thoughts be stars. Let the moon carry you a little farther into sleep. You are dreaming, and the moon is dreaming with you. You are still cradled in the dream's soft glow, its edges fading like ink in morning mist. But as your eyes slowly open within the story, you notice something shimmering in the distance. Not a star, not a thought, but a clock made of light. Not ticking, but turning. Not rigid, but rhythmic. This is the moon's clock, the oldest kind. A timekeeper not built by hands, but by presence. You drift toward it, through quiet fields of sky and memory. And everywhere you look, you see the moon marking time. She does not rush. She does not shout. She simply becomes. Night by night, she grows, then fades, then returns again. And people, long before calendars and numbers, watched her carefully, each phase a page in the lunar book. The word month comes from moon-th. The sky's first calendar was not digital. It was glowing. Ancient tribes planted their crops by moonlight and its shadows. Sailors waited for tides, watching her curve change each evening. Religious festivals aligned themselves with her rhythm. Ramadan, Easter, Passover, all tuned to the same silent song. She measured cycles, not seconds. Full moons were named by what was happening below. The wolf moon, when hungry, howls echoed in midwinter. The strawberry moon, when sweet fruit began to ripen. The harvest moon, when fields were golden and the nights grew cool. Each name a story, each phase a reminder, because time, in moonlight, it is not about urgency. It is about seasons of being, and just as the moon marks the world, she marks your life, too. You feel this rhythm now in your own unfolding. You've had your wolf moon winters, times of hunger, of solitude, of staring at the dark with open eyes. You've had your strawberry moons, those sweet surprises, unexpected joys ripen when you least expect. And you've had your harvest moons, times of reflection, of gathering what you've grown, of releasing what you no longer need. These aren't days on a calendar. They are phases of the soul. The moon has always known this. And she's been patient, letting you learn it slowly, one orbit at a time. You float now through an ancient library of light. Scrolls unroll across the sky, each marked not by numbers, but by silver curves. Even today, scientists use the moon to measure deep time. Her craters record cosmic events. Her distance from Earth is changing at a rate of just 3.8 centimeters per year. She is a ticking clock, just very, very slow, and maybe that's the lesson. That is not all time is measured in urgency. Some is measured in presence, in cycles, in return. And as you lie here beneath her gaze, you begin to feel your own life in lunar terms. Not by what day it is, but by what phase you're in. Are you rising? Are you retreating? Are you glowing? Are you resting? Whatever it is valid. You are on time, not by the world's clock, but by the moon's. In the next chapter, you'll drift through the quiet silence of space itself to understand how the moon floats endlessly in the balance between motion and stillness. But for now, let go of seconds and hours. Let your body breathe in phases. Let your heart trust in lunar time. There is no late, no early dot, only orbit, only rhythm, only now, time. No longer feels like a ticking thing. It feels like a circle now, a quiet loop, gently spinning like a mobile in the dark. And as that slow circle continues, you find yourself drifting beyond Earth, beyond tides, beyond calendars. You are floating into space itself, the place between, where the moon lives. There is no wind here, no sound, no crowd, just stillness, but not the kind of stillness that means nothing. This is lunar stillness, the stillness between movements, between orbits, between thoughts. You watch now as the Earth spins slowly below and the moon continues her eternal path around it. Not in circles, but in spirals, in slow, sweeping dances that never truly stops. The moon moves through space at nearly 3,700 kilometers per hour, fast by our standards. But from here she seems to drift, as if carried by an invisible stream. This is the paradox of orbit, motion that feels like stillness. A fall that never hits the ground. The moon is not sitting still. She is always falling toward Earth, but also moving sideways fast enough that she never reaches it. It is a perfect balance. Gravity pulls, momentum resists, and the result is grace. You feel it now, that tension that isn't tension, the surrender to something larger. What if you could live like that? Held, but free. Moving, but centered. You think of your own life, the constant doing, the chase, the pressure to always move forward. But the moon reminds you, some of the most stable things in the universe are just falling gracefully. She doesn't resist the pull, she uses it. She glides along its curve, like a dancer leaning into a partner's arms. You too are held by invisible forces, by gravity, by love, by memory. And sometimes you don't have to push. Sometimes you just have to trust the motion in. This silence, you can hear your own thoughts slow down, not vanish, just quiet. This is the space between breaths, between moments, between tides. It is not empty. It is sacred, because without the stillness, there would be no rhythm. Without the pause, no pulse. The moon teaches you this, not with words, but with motion that feels like peace. She has been circling Earth for billions of years, never tired, never lost. She doesn't need to arrive. She only needs to continue. And perhaps, so do you. You float now, not as a watcher, but as part of the orbit. You feel the curve beneath you, the gentle tug, the soft resistance. It's not a fight, it's a flow. And in that flow, there is no urgency, only presence. In the next chapter, you'll begin your descent back toward Earth, where moonlight meets the land and creates tides, not just of water, but of wonder. But for now, remain here, suspended. Let your breath slow to the speed of orbit. Let your thoughts fall without fear. You are not floating away. You are floating within, and just like the moon, you are right where you need to be. You begin your return now, slow and quiet, falling not down, but inward, out of orbit, back to Earth. But something feels different. You are no longer looking at the moon as a distant pearl in the sky. Now, You see where she touches the world. Moonlight is not just something to gaze at. It's something that lands, softly, gently. It brushes rooftops, pools on lakes, slides across the backs of sleeping deer, and drips from the petals of night-blooming jasmine. It casts no heat. It brings no shadow, and yet changes everything. You float now through a quiet forest at night. The trees whisper with you in, but it's the moonlight that gives their leaves a silver sheen, as if each branch wears a frost of stars. An owl turns its head. Its feathers shimmer, not white, but moonlit. Further down, a pond reflects the sky, but not perfectly. The water trembles gently, and the moon's face dances in the ripples, not distorted, but alive. You drift past homes, windows aglow with soft lamps, but it's the yards and rooftops, bathed in moonlight, that seems to breathe. Cats stretch in silence on stone steps. Laundry left overnight glows faintly like ghosts. Even forgotten bicycles lean into their shadows as if sleeping too. The moon doesn't arrive with noise. She doesn't need to knock. She enters through silence, fills the empty spaces with something almost holy. You pass a garden now. The flowers are closed, heads bowed in slumber. But the moonlight rests on them like a lullaby. No sunbeam could be this gentle, and still its power is undeniable, even at a distance of over 384,000 kilometers. The moon moves tides, shapes ecosystems, and guides the migration of glowing creatures, coral reefs and mountain ranges alike. She does all this with nothing but reflection. She has no light of her own. She borrows it, softens it, and returns it. And maybe so do you. You are touched by things you don't always understand. Kindness, sorrow, inspiration, they pass through you. And something inside transforms them into your own light. You don't need to blaze. You can reflect. You can glow quietly and still shape the world. You remember now those moments when moonlight changed the night for you. That walk when the street was empty, but the moon followed you. That night when you cried and the light on the wall made your room feel safe. That evening when a silver beam fell through the trees and made the air itself feel alive. They weren't loud memories, but they were real. The moon touches the earth in ways we rarely thank her for. But maybe tonight you do. You feel her now on your skin, not cold, but cool, not bright, but endless. And you understand something deeper that presence doesn't have. To be bold, to be meaningful, that you can make an impact without making a sound in the next chapter. You'll wander through the moon's influence on creativity, how poets, artists, and thinkers have been stirred by her light to dream awake. But for now, just lie still. Let the moonlight find you. Not because you seek it, but because you're open to being seen. She's not far. She never was. She's here, glowing softly where earth meets sky, and you are exactly where you belong. The ground beneath you is silver-dusted still, quiet and soft from where the moonlight touched it. But now, as you gently move forward, you notice footprints, not in soil, but in thought. They are not from animals, not from stars. They are left by minds that wandered through the night with ink on their fingers and wonder in their hearts. This chapter is not about science, but about art, about what the moon has whispered to dreamers with pens, with paint, with music. You float now into a quiet study. The window is open, and the moon rests on the edge of a desk. A poet sits with their chin in their hand, gazing upward. Their notebook glows faintly under the light, filled with scribbled lines about love, loss, longing, all somehow wrapped in the shape of the moon. You glide onward, past a painter's cottage. Inside, the canvas glows with pale hues, blues like melted snow, silvers like distant bells, brushstrokes like breathing. They are painting not what they see, but what they feel when the moon appears. It is not just light, it is invitation. Throughout history, the moon has pulled not just tides, but imaginations. Shakespeare wrote of her in sonnets Diana, the pale huntress. Basho saw her in ponds and fallen leaves. Virginia Woolf dreamed of her when writing about rooms of one's own. And even now, modern songs still mention her glow, soft, sorrowful, or sweet. Why? Because the moon leaves room. She does not overwhelm. She leaves space for wonder. Unlike the sun, who declares and defines, the moon simply offers, she says. Here, you may feel something, or nothing, either is okay. Under her thoughts slow down, not out of dullness, but because quiet invites depth. Writers stay up late, not just to meet deadlines, but because something about the night, something about the moon, opens the door between thought and feeling. You remember, perhaps, your own moments with a pen beneath her light. Maybe you didn't write poetry, but you jotted something, a note, a secret, a feeling too shy for daylight. And maybe you didn't paint, but you noticed how shadows looked different at night, how beauty became quieter, but somehow deeper. This is the moon's gift, the permission to wonder. You see now an old theatre stage, empty but for one spotlight. It's not electric, it's moonlight, and you hear echoes of poems spoken there, lines lost to time, but not to meaning. And behind the curtain, someone scribbles one more verse with trembling hands. The moon sees them. She sees all of us when we are not trying to be seen. That's when most art is born, in stillness, in vulnerability, in midnight. You are not only made of cells and breath, you are also made of stories, and many of them were written under moonlight. In the next chapter, you'll return to Earth's rhythms one last time to witness the moon's role in endings and renewals, in sleep, in goodbye, and in peace. But, for now, stay here with ink on your fingers and dreams in your chest. Let the moonlight be your page. Let your silence be enough, and know this: you are a poem still being written. The moon still rests softly on the page, your thoughts still glowing like embers. But now the feeling begins to change, not an ending, but a slowing, a turning. You are nearing the edge of this long lunar journey, and the moon, faithful, quiet, is beginning her descent too. This chapter is about goodbyes, but not the kind that close doors. This is the kind that opens your eyes wider before you let them fall shut. Farewells by moonlight are different. They don't shout, they don't rush, they whisper, they linger. They wrap you in memory like a soft shawl. You find yourself walking now through a night meadow, the air gentle on your skin, each blade of grass lit faintly by the moon's delicate hand. You are not alone. All around you, nature is preparing to rest. A fox pauses, nose to the wind. Its eyes meet yours, and for a moment there is no need to speak. You both understand something ancient, that endings are part of the rhythm, that departure is not loss, but return in disguise. The moon begins to sink lower in the sky. Her light now touches only the tops of the trees, like fingertips letting go. This is not sorrow. It's the soft surrender of cycles. You feel it in your chest, that ache that isn't pain, just presence throughout time. People have said farewell under the moon, Lovers parting at night promise to meet again when the moon is full. Sailors cast off beneath her glow, trusting she would follow them across the water. Writers penned final lines by her patient gaze. Even the earth, so deeply bound to her, lets her drift a little farther each year, as if saying, "Go on, but don't forget me." And she never does. Every night she returns, sometimes full, sometimes barely visible, but always there. This, too, is a comfort, that even in farewells there is a promise. And so you sit down now, beneath a willow tree, its long arms swaying in the hush. You close your eyes, not in grief, but in gratitude, because the moon has shown you how to move through change, how to rise, how to rest, how to reflect, how to return. You remember every chapter, not with details, but with feeling. The first hush of tide, the pulse in your blood, the dreamers in moonlight, the stillness of orbit, and now this moment, the farewell. But notice, the moon doesn't vanish. She slips quietly behind the hills, into tomorrow, and you will follow. You feel now the weight of sleep beginning to settle, not heavy, but holy. Your limbs soften, your breath slows, your thoughts dissolve like mist above a silver lake. The journey is not over, but tonight's path is nearly walked. In the final chapter, you will return to the shoreline, to the place where the tides first whispered your name, and you'll remember all that the moon has offered. But for now, rest in this twilight. Let go without fear. Say goodbye like the moon does, without words, without ending, just light, slipping softly into the folds of sleep. The moon has disappeared beneath the hills, and sleep has almost taken you fully. But there is one last place to visit, one last memory to touch. Before you drift away, you return now to where this journey began. The shoreline, the same warm sand cradles your feet, and the ocean sighs in long, gentle breaths. You feel the rhythm. Again, that slow in and out, the heartbeat of the world that mirrors your own. But this time, you know what it means. This is not just water lapping at land. This is the story the moon has been telling all along. Each wave is a word, each tide a sentence. You sit where the foam curls softly around your toes, and you listen. The ocean remembers everything. It remembers the moon's first pull, that ancient tug of gravity that set the waters moving long before cities were built or names were spoken. It remembers your breath the first time you wondered why the moon followed you home. It remembers every chapter, your thoughts in orbit, your dreams under stars, your farewells whispered into wind. Because tides don't forget, they come back. They always come back, and so will you. Every time you feel lost, you will return to this rhythm. Every time you forget, you'll hear the quiet invitation of the sea. The moon may be gone from view, but her pull remains. She lives in the ebb and flow of your moods, your hopes, your becoming, and the ocean responds faithfully, gently, forever. You look out across the water now, and it looks back, not with eyes, but with memory. The wind brushes your cheek. The stars hum above, and the tide curls in once more, as if to say, "You were here, you were still here, and I remember." You stand slowly, not with urgency, but with peace. This chapter closes not with a full stop, but a comma, a pause, a breath, because the moon will rise again. The tides will move again, and your story will continue in quiet, beautiful ways. This bedtime journey ends where it began, on the shore, beneath the stars, with your heart gently cradled between earth and sky. You are not just a person. You are part of the tide, part of the moon, part of the great dreaming rhythm of the universe. So now, close your eyes. Let the waves rock you inward. Let the hush of water and wind carry you deeper. You are remembered. You are held. You are home. Good night. Dreamer, sleep well.